Have you ever watched a courtroom drama and thought no one would ever do that in real life? Well, folks, truth is often stranger than fiction. Today, we're diving into the top 5 worst courtroom antics in criminal proceedings. We're talking about those jaw-dropping moments when defendants, in a stunning display of terrible judgment, make decisions that send their cases spiraling down the drain. These moments not only shocked the courtroom, but also had devastating effects on the defendants. Let's pull back the curtain and examine these unbelievable courtroom disasters. Picture this: a tense courtroom, a jury on the edge of their seats, and a defendant facing serious charges. The prosecution has presented a strong case, but the defense is holding its own. Then, in a moment of sheer madness, the defendant erupts in an emotional outburst, unleashing a torrent of anger and frustration. They lash out at the judge, the jury, even their own lawyer. The outburst is so shocking, so unexpected, that it hangs in the air like a bad odor. The judge, a seasoned veteran of the courtroom, tries to restore order, but the damage is done. The jury, once sympathetic, now views the defendant with suspicion and distrust. The outburst, fueled by raw emotion, has irrevocably tainted their perception. The defense attorney, struggling to regain control, realizes the case is slipping through their fingers. The defendant's outburst has not only jeopardized their defense, but also alienated the very people who hold their fate in their hands. The judge, now forced to consider the outburst as a sign of remorselessness and lack of respect for the judicial process, hands down a harsher sentence than originally intended. The defendant, consumed by regret and despair, realizes the true cost of their emotional outburst. Their actions, driven by a moment of unbridled anger, have sealed their fate, leaving them with a harsher sentence and a future filled with regret. In the hallowed halls of justice, where truth and evidence collide, tampering with the very fabric of a case is a grave offense. One defendant, blinded by desperation, embarked on a misguided mission to manipulate the evidence, a decision that would backfire spectacularly. Believing they could outsmart the system, they tampered with key pieces of evidence, hoping to sway the jury in their favor. Little did they know their actions were being meticulously monitored by watchful eyes. The prosecution, armed with irrefutable proof of the tampering, exposed the defendant's deceitful scheme in open court. The courtroom erupted in gasps and murmurs as the defendant's web of lies unraveled before their very eyes. The judge, with a stern demeanor, condemned the defendant's actions, emphasizing the sanctity of evidence and the consequences of such blatant disregard for the law. The jury, once uncertain, now viewed the defendant with disdain, their credibility shattered into a million pieces. The defense attorney, caught in the crossfire of their client's reckless choices, could only watch in dismay as the case crumbled before them. The defendant, realizing the gravity of their actions, faced the harsh reality of their choices. Their attempt to manipulate the evidence had backfired, resulting in a swift and decisive guilty verdict, a testament to the folly of their actions. The right to self-representation is a cornerstone of our legal system, but it's a path fraught with peril, especially for those unfamiliar with the intricacies of the law. One defendant, brimming with misplaced confidence, decided to forego legal counsel, choosing instead to represent themselves, a decision that would prove disastrous. Armed with a superficial understanding of legal proceedings and a healthy dose of arrogance, they marched into court, ready to plead their case. However, the courtroom is not a stage for amateur theatrics, and the law is a complex and unforgiving beast. The defendant, lacking the expertise and finesse of a seasoned attorney, stumbled through their defense, making a series of blunders that would seal their fate. They inadvertently revealed incriminating information, contradicted their own testimony, and alienated the jury with their rambling and incoherent arguments. The judge, observing the unfolding train wreck, tried to guide the defendant, but their efforts were met with stubborn resistance. The prosecution, capitalizing on the defendant's self-inflicted wounds, dismantled their defense with surgical precision, exposing their every flaw and inconsistency. The jury, initially intrigued by the spectacle of self-representation, quickly grew weary of the defendant's incompetence, their patience wearing thin with each passing moment. The defendant, realizing the folly of their decision, watched in horror as their case imploded, their dream of self-representation dissolving into a nightmare of their own making. Respect for the court is paramount, a fundamental principle that underpins the very essence of our judicial system. One defendant, however, seemed to have missed that memo, choosing instead to exhibit a blatant disregard for the authority of the court, a decision that would have profound consequences. From the moment they stepped into the courtroom, their demeanor was one of defiance and disrespect. They scoffed at the judge's instructions, interrupted proceedings with snide remarks, and treated the entire process with disdain. The judge, a beacon of composure and authority, tried to rein in the defendants' unruly behavior, but their efforts were met with open hostility. The defendants' disrespect was not merely a matter of bad manners. It was a calculated strategy to undermine the legitimacy of the court, to sow seeds of doubt in the minds of the jury. The prosecution, sensing an opportunity, seized upon the defendants' behavior, highlighting it as evidence of their guilt and lack of remorse. The jury, initially neutral, found themselves swayed by the defendants' blatant disrespect, their actions speaking volumes about their character and disregard for the law. The defense attorneys, struggling to salvage the situation, realized that their client's behavior had poisoned the well, making it nearly impossible to present a credible defense. The defendant, blinded by arrogance and a sense of entitlement, failed to grasp the gravity of their actions. Their disrespect for the court had not only alienated the judge and jury, but had also irrevocably damaged their own case, leading to a swift and decisive guilty verdict. Desperate times call for desperate measures, but attempting to escape from the very courtroom where your fate hangs in the balance is a level of desperation that defies logic and reason. One defendant, facing a mountain of evidence and the grim prospect of a lengthy prison sentence, decided to take matters into their own hands, embarking on a daring escape attempt that would shock the courtroom and seal their fate. In a moment of sheer panic, they bolted from the defendant's table, their eyes wide with fear and adrenaline coursing through their veins. Chaos erupted as security rushed to apprehend the fleeing defendant, their frantic movements creating a scene of utter pandemonium. The judge, a picture of calm amidst the storm, ordered the courtroom cleared as security wrestled the defendant to the ground, their escape attempt thwarted in a matter of seconds. The jury, witnesses to this brazen act of defiance, could only stare in disbelief, their minds struggling to comprehend the audacity of the escape attempt. The prosecution, seizing upon this dramatic turn of events, painted the defendant as a dangerous and unpredictable individual, their actions speaking louder than any words. The defense attorney, left to pick up the pieces of this shattered case, realized that the escape attempt had extinguished any hope of a favorable outcome. The defendant, now facing additional charges for their reckless actions, realized the true cost of their desperate gamble. Their escape attempt, a testament to their fear and desperation, had backfired spectacularly, transforming a difficult situation into an insurmountable obstacle. Well, folks, we've journeyed through the depths of courtroom chaos, witnessing firsthand the disastrous consequences of ill-conceived actions. Remember, the courtroom is a place where truth and justice prevail, and those who attempt to manipulate the system often find themselves caught in their own web of deceit. If you found these courtroom calamities as shocking and unbelievable as I did, be sure to subscribe, follow, like, comment, and share the video. Stay updated for more shocking courtroom stories. Until next time, remember, justice may be blind, but it's not easily fooled.